too low. There we go. Okay, everyone. So we are talking about Christmas oils tonight, and I'm really excited. I've been having so much fun with my essential oils for this holiday season, and so I wanted to share with you just some of the things that I've really been focusing on a certain amount of oils for really November, December, even into January and February, because those are still winter months, right? Really focusing on a certain set of oils and learning about them, and I've been using them a lot, and so I'm going to share that information with you tonight. So let's start off with talking about cassia. So the oils that we are normally attracted to during this time are the spicier oils, the peppermints in the mint family, things like that, because the peppermints it's very cooling, it's good for the respiratory system, but the spices are so good for our immune support and warming our bodies up. So that's one of the reasons why we're a little bit more attracted to those during this time of year. So let's start with cassia. So cassia was one of doTERRA's BOGO oils that they just did that special back in November. And so, cassia is not one that a lot of people know about. And it's a really unique, great oil. Now, a lot of people will confuse it with cinnamon because it does smell similar to cinnamon. However, there are lots of differences. Oftentimes what will happen with some essential oil companies, they will cut half of their cinnamon with cassia because they smell very similar, because cassia is a bit cheaper than pure cinnamon oil. And so oftentimes you can even do a smell test and smell, oh, well, this one has a little bit more cassia in it than just pure cinnamon, especially if you know what cassia smells like. So some of the top uses for it. It's really good for cold extremities, okay? So when you're feeling cold, I don't know if anyone else, when the weather gets cold outside, your hands have a hard time warming up. Or have you ever felt like maybe your fingertips stay cold? I don't know, sometimes I have just a few fingers where the tips just stay really cold and I can't seem to warm them up. So I grab out my cassia. You always want to dilute it, right? Any of the spicier oils like cassia, cinnamon, ginger, those, you want to be using a carrier oil with them because they are very, very hot. And so when you put them on your skin neat, they will give you a little bit of a burning sensation, okay? So you get out your carrier oil and just massage that into areas that need to be warmed up. So maybe that's the feet, the legs, the hands, things like that. It's very good for an upset stomach, okay? So think about how you would use that. You'd want to use that internally, right? So you could put a drop in some water, maybe in a veggie cap, empty veggie cap, and swallow that. Really helps to settle an upset stomach. It's very good for detoxing for the ears, the nose, and the throat and the lungs. So cassia is really good for helping the body, right, in its function of releasing phlegm. Okay, so if you have had some kind of respiratory thing going on, and you've got a lot of phlegm, mucus, things like that, lingering, you would want to pull out your cassia and you'd want to put it in an empty veggie cap and take that so that it can help just detox those things that are hindering your body. Really, really smart. Helps with water retention and also supports the function of your kidneys. So that's another thing. You would want to take that internally. You could also put it on the bottoms of the feet and find that reflexology point for the kidneys and massage that cassia into that area is very helpful. It's also very good for those pesky pathogens, that are going around in the air that might come into your body and create some immune problems for you. Also blood sugar balance. So this is one that's similar to cinnamon where, with cassia, by taking those internally, they really help to stabilize your blood sugar and help it to maintain its balance. It's a good metabolism booster. Okay, so eating a lot of sweet treats, it's a good thing to take some cassia, take some cinnamon, boost up your metabolism a little bit. And it's very good actually for the libido. So it's really good for drive. So this would be massaging it on the bottoms of the feet, even just smelling it, inhaling it from the bottom. from the bottle. It's really effective in that way, and also for cooking. So I recommend starting out small, maybe just do a drop or two, test that out, taste it, see if that's the kind of flavor you want, and you can add more after that. But the spices are strong, and so you want to start out with less, and that's really important. So here's a really cool recipe to make cinnamon sweet candy water, is that you can combine 1 drop of cassia and 2 drops of grapefruit in your glass of water, mix that around, and you can drink that. And actually that would be really helpful at helping to stave off sugar cravings, because we know that grapefruit is really good at helping to reduce cravings for sugar. So of course the cassia would help to boost that boost your metabolism and stabilize your blood sugar. Okay, so now let's move on to cinnamon, right? The sister of cassia. So cinnamon also really helps, like I said, with that blood sugar. It's an absolute must. Cinnamon is in the Slim and Sassy blend that doTERRA makes, and so it's in there for a reason. It's also very good for, like, if you have a cold, you're just dealing with some sniffles, some things happening in your body. Taking a little bit of cinnamon in a capsule, as well as diffusing it, rubbing it on the bottoms of your feet. Cinnamon's also in On Guard. Okay, so we know how beneficial cinnamon can be for our immune systems. It's really good for helping to support the heart, right? So that is supporting the increased blood flow to the heart and from the heart. Think about anything related in that area. I have to be careful with my words because I want to remain as compliant as I can. But think of anything with the heart that would have to do with increased blood flow there. The cinnamon can really help with that. Oral health. Okay, so gargling with this, swishing it around in your mouth, can be really, really effective for oral health. Again, it also helps to support the kidneys, much like the cassia did, as well as female health. So taking this in a drop or two in an empty veggie cap is really helpful, just supporting female health, right? It's really good for muscle strain and even some pain, so you can massage it into the area of concern. Again, this is one you absolutely want to dilute, just like the cassia. It is so strong. Hey Jackie, how are you? Sure, I hope this is helpful. So you definitely want to dilute the cinnamon. Speaking from experience. All right, moving on to another spice, and that's clove. For a long time, I didn't even really pay much attention to clove. It was one of those that I didn't really enjoy the smell of it that much, but I did use it for its numbing properties. So when my babies were teething, I would just dilute it like pretty heavily. So like 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and just do 1 drop of your clove, and then rub that on baby's gums. Now for very, very small children, like infants, I wouldn't do that. But for older babies, I have no problem doing that. Because clove is, I've had a sore in my mouth before, and I put a little bit of clove undiluted in my mouth, and woo, like it was very effective, but it like stung really badly as well for like a minute. But then it was great, like I didn't feel anything. So it works. But clove is also, it is a very, very powerful antioxidant. So the dried spice measures 300,000 on the ORAC scale, but the essential oil measures over 1 million. That's huge, over 1 million. So imagine those antioxidants and what they're doing to your body. So clove is really effective for helping support the liver and supporting the brain. So you can apply that on the bottoms of the feet and take that in a capsule as well. Think of that, the antioxidants really helping with that brain health. It's also a great immune booster. It's an On Guard as well. Circulation, so you can apply this on the spine, diluted, because again, it's one of those spices. Bottoms of the feet, just anywhere that you would want to increase that blood flow, okay? Tooth pain and anything going on in your mouth, right? You can swish it around, use it as mouthwash. Put it right on anything that you're needing to take care of right away. Let's say there's a sore or just occasional things that you would get, in your mouth. And it's very, very effective. Like I said, teething, things like that. It's really good for supporting the thyroid, and another one for great way to support the metabolism. So again, that would be most likely, I would recommend you would take that internally in a capsule. You could also put it on the big toe and massage it in. That's a good place to put it on as well. It's a great immune booster. So we know that it is with all those antioxidants in there. But something that I didn't know was it's actually very good for people that are addicted to smoking. Okay, so think about it though. I mean, people would smoke clove cigarettes, different things like that. So if you have, are wanting to cut back, then clove could help to support that process and helping you cut back on smoking. So clove, really great oil. I use it so much more now. I've really been diffusing it a lot lately, so that's good. All right, so cypress. Cypress is another one we don't talk about or think about all the time. So actually the ancient Greeks loved cypress so much that they dedicated it to one of their gods named Pluto. So cypress has been used for various reasons over many, 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 many years. It's very good for those restless legs that you get. And again, another one really good for circulation. So anytime that you're just feeling, we all get it in the middle of the night and your legs just can't stop moving. Go get your cypress. I'd also recommend some lavender. Just massage your legs down. That's been really effective for me in the past. It's really good for the urinary system. Okay, so various things that could be going on with the urinary system and really supporting its function, whether that is poor urine flow or maybe that's bedwetting or incontinence. So it can just help support those things, and that would just be diluting it and rubbing it around the abdomen. Okay, really easy, simple things, but we wouldn't have ever thought to do that, right? It's very good. Since it's so good for circulation, imagine how supportive and helpful it can be for those with varicose veins, right? Just a supportive way to massage that oil in there and really help with that. It's very good. Again, it's all about circulation, right? Anytime I think of cypress, I think about circulation. And so when we're dealing with certain areas on our body, on our skin, that maybe don't look that great, probably around the thigh area, then you can take some grapefruit and you can take some cypress and massage it into those areas to help break that tissue up, and you'll be grateful. It's also really good for coughs. If you have like a whooping sounding or spastic cough, applying cypress to the chest is really helpful. But then you would want to apply it, but then apply a warm compress over where you applied it on the chest, and that will really help to drive the oils in and help it be a little bit more therapeutic for your body. Really anytime you're dealing with a respiratory issue, a warm compress would be a beneficial thing. It's really good for ovary issues, helping with supporting that area of the body. Again, just putting it over onto the abdomen. It is supportive for the liver and the gallbladder. So it really helps. Again, we're talking about flow, we're talking about circulation, so it's helping things flow, right? So it's decongesting, it's doing all sorts of those kinds of things. And it's very calming and energizing. So cypress, lots of different uses for cypress. All right, Douglas fir, one of my very, very favorites because it's the Christmas tree oil, and I love it. This is our first year that we ever got a fake Christmas tree. I'm even kind of embarrassed to say it because I've grown up always getting a real tree and just loving it. It was always a tradition, but I just, I didn't want to deal with it this year. And so I sent David out and he got the most beautiful fake Christmas tree I think I've ever seen, but it's fantastic. I love it. I don't think I'll be going back to real ones now. So it's great, but I do rely on my Douglas fir to help me get that great Christmas tree smell in my house. So Our Douglas fir is sourced in New Zealand, and so they have an overabundance of Douglas fir trees, and it's actually a problem for their environment, because the Douglas fir trees, they kind of take over, and then they block out any other life form of a plant that other plants won't be able to thrive, because the Douglas fir trees just take over. So doTERRA's gone in and they've just helped. They're sourcing all of those some of those trees to help eliminate that problem. It's actually become a problem for them. They have too many Douglas fir trees. So that's one of the co-impact sourcing initiatives that doTERRA is putting forth, and it's a great one. I would love to go see a Douglas fir farm, or I don't know what it is, but it'd be so fun. So Douglas fir is really good for mental fog and low energy. I know even from smelling the bottle, it makes you feel uplifted, energized, happy. It's also really good for respiratory issues. Any of the tree oils, anything like that, is going to be really good at helping to open up airways. So just rubbing it on the chest is helpful. Any kind of tension, congestion, things happening in your sinuses. It's also good for muscle and joint soreness, feelings of soreness. You can just massage it right in. Massage it into the hands. It's also good for stomach issues as well, for helping with elimination. It's good for the skin, for any kind of irritants that would be on the skin or abrasions. It helps to soothe them. And it's really good for emotional balance. So I feel very balanced. I love smelling. It's one of my very favorites, and I use it in pretty much every holiday diffuser blend I have. Just is fantastic. All right, so we can't talk about Christmas oils without talking about frankincense. So frankincense, oh my, it is just, there's so much I could say, and there's so much I can't say, so I'm going to have to be careful with this one, but frankincense is so good for our cells, right? And any time you are thinking about your cellular health, we're thinking about our overall health. We're talking about creating proper inflammatory responses in the body. We're talking about all those levels. So frankincense can really be used in a preventative way, and that is how it's best used. Now, we do frankincense on our bodies, and I take it internally under my tongue with copaiba every single night. And I've been doing that for a few weeks now, and both of them together, and I believe by adding Siberian fir, that's even better. That Dr. Hill really recommends those three together. It's just a wonderful support for the cells of your body, and we really need to start thinking proactively about that. The oils really help us to be able to do that and to serve our bodies in that way. So any kind of trauma that the body's going through, frankincense will be very helpful. I use it on my daughter quite frequently, and think of emotional trauma, but also think of physical trauma, so things going on in the body. Anytime that there's trauma to the body, there's going to create inflammation. There's the good inflammation and there's the bad inflammation. And we want to keep our body in the good inflammation, right? That anytime that there's a trauma that would happen, that bad inflammation will rise in the body, and so the frankincense can really help us there. It really helps with anything dealing with the brain. So again, taking it under the tongue, rubbing it on the bottoms of the feet. The more that we can get frankincense in and on our bodies, I think the better, and to really think of doing it daily. It's very good for feelings of depression. Again, think about what it's doing for the chemistry in your brain. It's good for the skin, for any kind of, helps with scarring, wrinkles, it helps fine lines, it just helps just the smoothness of your skin. I use it in my lotion pretty much daily, in my moisturizer. But it's also really good for pain, because think of how it is supporting the inflammation, right? We know when we have pain, we're dealing with some inflammation. So by using that internally, using it topically, rubbing it where you need it, it's good for the immune system also. My children's immune roller is a blend of On Guard, Melaleuca, lemon, frankincense, and arbor vitae. And when if we're really not feeling well, I add Melissa and black pepper and oregano to that. But I don't do the oregano constantly, right? So that is what I use for immune support. Also really good for congestion, coughs, allergies, things like that. Meditation, prayer, and focus. So all really, really great things. I could go in. There's so much research out there about frankincense. I encourage you to get on the internet and look it up, because there's a lot of really good, reputable sources that can give you lots of that information. All right, let's move on to myrrh oil. So myrrh means bitter and was referred to in the Bible as the balm of Gilead. Okay, it was given as a gift to the Christ child and also presented at his death to be used prior to burial. So myrrh is very, very thick, and my bottle always kind of crystallizes on the outside, and I have to run it under some hot water and pry it open. It's like a sap. It reminds me very much of a sap. It's very good for your gums. So if you put a little bit in a drop of it in some water and swoosh it around in your mouth, it really helps to soothe the gums. That's really important. I mean, I remember my days back when I had braces and all those kinds of things. And I wish that I had some myrrh to really help, and clove too, to help with some of those things that I was dealing with. It's very good for the skin, for people that deal with overly dry skin, because it's so thick. It just goes right on. It's just beautiful. It's good to support the thyroid and the immune system. You can apply it to the base of the neck and the bottoms of the feet for that. It's good for digestive upset, any kind of cramping you're dealing with in the digestive system. Again, it's really good for those itchy, patchy areas of skin. It's good for mucus and congestion as well. Much like I said about the cassia, I use myrrh the same way. And it's just a really good meditation oil. It's good for grounding, things like that. So myrrh is excellent, really excellent oil. And of course, there's peppermint. Peppermint is one that is loved by many, and we use it all the time for alertness and energy. Just smelling it helps with that. Overheated body temperatures, it's really wonderful for that as well. Any kind of burn, or if you get a sunburn, think of the cooling sensation of peppermint. Anytime that you need something to cool you down, reach for your peppermint, and you can dilute it and rub it on your burns, your sunburn, whatever. Curling iron burns, I get those all the time. It's good for memory issues, okay? So think about it. It wakes you up. It wakes your brain up, right? So you can remember things. It is also very good for soreness. Rubbing it in, I oftentimes will use it for headaches because I like that cooling sensation when I'm dealing with a headache. I will oftentimes I use the peppermint as mouthwash as well. So that's something that I do after I brush my teeth with the On Guard toothpaste. I like that a lot. It's good for opening the respiratory system, for any kind of respiratory issues, stomach issues. I used to drink peppermint tea all day long, and now I can just use a drop or two of peppermint oil, and I don't have to drink peppermint tea all day, and that's fantastic. It does decrease milk supply if there are any nursing mommies, so I would be cautious of that. It doesn't affect every single person the same way. I was able to use peppermint after my milk supply had established, and I was able to use peppermint just here and there, so without a problem. But it also helps with the loss of a sense of smell. And I was teaching a class one time, and I had this lady next to me, and she said, oh, I was giving her an oil to smell, and she goes, oh, that's okay. She just wanted me to pass her by because she said, I can't smell anything. I said, well, why don't you try? So I gave her a drop of peppermint in the palm of her hand, rubbed her hands together, had her cup and inhale, and rubbed the back of her neck. And really within just a few minutes, she was like, oh my, she said, I'm really feeling a difference in how I'm feeling, and my airways are open, and she said, I actually feel like I can smell things again. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is amazing. That even if you don't have a good sense of smell, the oils can still be really effective and support your body. So Really, really helpful with that. Siberian fir, one of our new oils. So Siberian fir is the only tree oil that we can actually take internally. The other ones we cannot. So Siberian fir is replacing white fir. So if you ever see any recipes for white fir hanging around, just go ahead and replace that with Siberian fir and you'll be good to go. What is it used for? So it's good for any kind of pain. It's helpful with inflammation as well, achy muscles, things like that. Massage it right in. I've used it on David's feet before after we've been out walking all day for on a trip or something. At doTERRA's convention, we walk everywhere, and so when we got back to our hotel, I'd always massage his feet and mine, and it really helped quite a bit. It's very good for breathing, for opening up airways, for coughs. It's really good for, actually also helps to support the urinary system. So if you're needing support there, that's very good. It's good for circulation. Helps to regulate blood pressure, helps to support that, make sure that it's stable. It's good for body odor. Some people use it as deodorant. So just slap it down under there and you're good. Like, hey, natural deodorant there. It is very good for skin issues as well. Very, very helpful in that area. And it helps to really support proper hormone balance. And it's really good for anxiety, brain fog, and exhaustion. So if you're feeling any of those things, I recommend you get out your Siberian fir. And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about wild orange. We know wild orange because it smells fantastic and it makes us happy. But what are the other things that wild orange can do? Well, it can really help with our sleep, actually, and our stress. So if you're having trouble sleeping or if you're feeling stressed, whip out that wild orange, smell it, put it on the back of your neck. I was having trouble sleeping a while back, and a blend that helped me that I never thought would help me was wild orange, ylang ylang, and lavender. But I couldn't have them by themselves. I had to have those together, and if I didn't put the wild orange in there, then I wouldn't sleep. So I know that it can really help with that, and that was just me putting it in the diffuser by my bed. It can help with sluggish bowels and that burning sensation, right? It's really helpful to take that in a capsule, maybe add a little bit of ginger with it, can be helpful. It is really good for, obviously, your mood, right? Depression, if you're feeling a little depressed, maybe you feel fearful or you have some anxiety, maybe a little irritable, could help with you there. Lack of energy, creativity, and productivity. That's why we love to combine wild orange with peppermint, because peppermint's another one of those that just really boosts up your energy and your brain level and all of that. Helps with focus, concentration. It's a great detoxer and regenerator, so that's why we like to put a drop of it in our water. I also use wild orange in recipes, so I put it in my muffins and my pancakes, different things like that. I put it I'll melt dark chocolate and put a drop of wild orange in there, and then I'll get the little cutie oranges and peel them, and then dip half of it in the chocolate, and then sprinkle a little sea salt on it. Oh my gosh, and then let it harden. Oh, it's amazing. So I've done that a few Christmases in a row, and it's great. You can make fudge with it. It's a great oil. So anyways, those are some of the oils that I've been focusing on this Christmas season, and now you know them a little bit better, and I hope that you put these oils together, use them, put them in your diffusers, explore them. They're wonderful, and sometimes I think that many of them are forgotten. So I hope that you enjoyed this information, and I hope that you have a really blessed, wonderful holiday and Christmas. Can't believe it's just a few days away, and it's going to be a great time. So have a great night. Bye, guys.